Welcome to the Ascent of Mount Carmel YouTube channel. This channel is devoted to a reading and a better understanding of St. John of the Cross's book, Ascent of Mount Carmel. Today we're going to discuss silence.
You talk too much, you worry me to death.
We have referred to our Ascent of Mount Carmel as a journey, and I think that's an appropriate metaphor. However, at some point we need to be still and silent and wait for God to come to us. We also need to be in silence. We do this by eliminating creatures and other distractions so that we can wait attentively for God. We'll discuss this more in the second book. However, it bears to the discussion from the 11th chapter when we talk about purging ourselves of the desire for creatures and imperfections. The lack of silence can be numbered among them. Today we're also going to discuss the Desert Fathers and their thoughts on silence. The Desert Fathers certainly understood the concepts in Ascent of Mount Carmel and the need for silence and waiting for God to come to them. This is why they basically fled to the desert, so that they could pray in silence. This YouTube channel is based on the premise that lay people can practice the tenets espoused by St. John of the Cross and Ascent of Mount Carmel. In this one area, contemplative religious definitely do have an advantage on us because they can more easily find a lifestyle where they can live in silence. For us, especially when we're part of a family, it's not so easy. Also, we certainly don't want to be rude to our families and not talk to them when they need to be talked to. Also, for many of us, our jobs require talking and communication. Many things that seem to be a curse are actually a blessing. This is an obstacle, and if we can overcome it, we are likely to receive great graces. It's a challenge to be in silence as a layperson, but we must look for our opportunities. Best opportunity I can think of is traveling to and from work. We should always avoid listening to the radio while driving alone in the car. For a beginner, it may not be time yet to become silent. If you're a beginner, you might want to listen to apologetics CDs. However, at some point, you may experience dryness, and that time to and from work may be well spent in contemplative silence. This is time you can become closer to God, and this is time to pray. And when you can steal a moment here and a moment there to be in silence and to be in silent prayer, it's all good. The Bible does speak to silence. It is good to wait with silence for the salvation of God. This is exactly what we're talking about when we sit in silence waiting for God to come to us. Proverbs says, "In the multitude of words there shall not want sin, but he that restraineth his lips is most wise." The Bible also says, "Therefore the prudent shall keep silence at that time, for it is an evil time." The 38th Psalm says, "I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I have set guard to my mouth." The Desert Fathers had much to say on the virtue of silence. Isidore the priest said, "To live without speaking is better than to speak without living. For the former who lives rightly does good even by his silence, but the latter does no good even when he speaks." St. Pombo was the spiritual father of St. John the Dwarf. One day the archbishop came to the desert, and the brethren who were assembled said to St. Pombo, "Say something to the archbishop so that he might be edified." St. Pombo said to them, "If he is not edified by my silence, he will not be edified by my speech." Abba Poman said, "If we remembered that it is written, 'By your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned,' we would choose to remain silent." Abba Poman also once said, "A man may seem to be silent, but if his heart is condemning others, he is babbling incessantly." The Fathers recorded that a hermit said, "Take care to be silent. Empty your mind. Attend your meditation in the fear of God, whether you are resting or at work. If you do this, you will not fear the attacks of demons." When Abba Arsenius had asked for the second time, "Lord, lead me to the way of salvation," the voice that spoke back to him said, "Be silent." But it also said, "Pray always." On another occasion, Abba Arsenius said, "Many times I spoke, and as a result felt sorry, but I never regretted my silence." A brother asked Abba Bessarion, "What ought I to do?" The old man said to him, "Keep silence, and do not always be comparing yourself with others." Thank you for watching this installment of Ascent of Mount Carmel. We'll be back again next week. In the meantime, please pray for the church.